These are the Bose Sport Earbuds. It's been just over a year since we last reviewed these, and since then, Bose had introduced a couple of much needed updates. We really liked these when they first came out, but after all this time, are they still any good? Let's check it out. So before we get started, I do just want to point out that this is not going to be another in-depth review. We've already done that, and if you're interested in watching that before or after this video, then I'm going to go ahead and link it, I think, right over here in the top left corner. So let's get into it. So looking at the design, after about a year, I feel like these still hold up. I really like the way these look, and after testing out all the other earbuds, these are still probably one of my favorites. The Baltic blue color is a really nice touch, and they're still small enough where they don't stick out past my ears. The case, on the other hand, is still on the bulky side. Now remember, these feature an open design, which means that your passive noise isolation does take a big hit. Now this could be a good or bad thing depending on how you look at it. Now, coming from my Jabra Elite 75Ts, you really notice just how much noise the Sport Earbuds let in. Of course, they are completely different designs. With the Sport Earbuds, if you're out and about and you want to be aware of your surroundings, then yeah, these are great. It's sort of like having transparency mode on all the time. But on the other hand, if you want to ignore the world and just submerge yourself into your music, then you may be better off looking elsewhere. When it comes to fit and comfort, my opinion from before still remains the same. When you first put them in, they are fine, but after about an hour or so of usage, they do begin to hurt my ears. I was kind of hoping that with experimenting with all the other earbuds that my ears might have gotten used to this design, but that doesn't seem to be the case. On the bright side though, when they are in your ear, they are locked in and secure, so you don't have to worry about them falling out. Now I did mention that Bose introduced a couple of much needed updates here. So what exactly do they do? Well, they introduced a fully customizable equalizer within the app, as well as the option to add volume controls to the earbuds. When it comes to the custom EQ, if I'm being honest here, it kind of just feels like Bose cheaped out here, and they kind of just threw the custom EQ just for the sake of saying that they had one on board. You only get 4 presets to choose from, which include bass booster and reducer and treble booster and reducer. You're not even given an option to be able to save your custom EQ, so if you happen to reset it or even choose from one of the other options, you have to go back and readjust the EQ to how you had it before. Look, I know I'm being harsh here, but for a company like Bose, especially at this price point, you kind of expect more. Don't get me wrong, the custom EQ works well and does what it needs to, but the overall presentation is just boring. Especially when you compare it to companies like Anchor or even Jaybird. Their presentation and what they have to offer when it comes to custom EQs is just so much more, and they give you a lot more to play with. Another thing that I want to mention is that it kind of feels like they adjusted the sound signature to the Sport Earbuds to make way for the custom EQ. And what I mean here is that right out of the box, before you do any adjusting, they sound flat, the bass isn't as present, and they just don't sound as dynamic as they did before. Before they sounded great, but now it kind of feels like I actually have to adjust them in order to bring them back to the same level as they were before. Now, it could just be me, or I could just be going crazy, but it would be really sneaky if they did do that. Looking at the volume controls, I have no complaints here. You do have to go into the app in order to turn this feature on, but when you do, you just simply swipe up and down on the right earbud in order to adjust the volume accordingly. It works really well and it's very responsive. It is something that should have been included right from the get-go, but I am happy that they finally included this option. The one thing that's still missing here is the ability to fully customize your touch controls. Yes, they give you a couple options, but I want it to be more in depth. I want to be able to choose between a single tap, double tap, or even a triple tap on both earbuds. I want to be able to skip forward a song on my right or go back a song on my left or increase the volume with my right or decrease the volume with my left. Things like that. Don't make me choose whether I want to skip a song or go back a song. That's just nonsense. Not to mention that if you turn the shortcut off on the left ear does nothing. Also, if you're rocking a single earbud, which has to be the right, by the way, you don't even have an option to skip a song. You're restricted to volume control as well as play or pause. So again, a company like Bose, especially at this price point, you do kind of expect more. So I'm kind of hoping that they can look at this as another thing they can fix in the future. A couple quick things here, guys, before we do continue. As I just mentioned, if you do want to rock a single earbud, whether it's for phone calls or for music, it does have to be the right. Battery life on these, after all this time, I'm still getting about 4 hours of usage in between charges, which is about average. And touch controls on the left ear are still, they're still iffy. They still haven't been looked at. They still work about 9 times out of 10, which is unfortunate, but I'm hoping that's another thing that they can look at in the future. In the end, after all this time, would I still recommend the Bose Sport Earbuds? In short, it's kind of hard to. Yes, they sound great. That's one thing you cannot take away from these. But there's just so much competition out there now that offer a similar sound experience, a lot more features at much lower price points. So if you're out shopping around, definitely keep that in mind. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you guys thought about this video and whether or not you want me to revisit any other products that we've seen before. Of course, if you like what you see here, go ahead and slap that like button, subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. That's it for me, guys. As always, I'll catch you on the next video.